Welcome to Daza on World of Madness. Here I am in a birch forest, but of course it's not a birch forest, it's my arboretum, it's back. I've been doing some building, I've been expanding upwards. Well, apart from the floor, yes, look, it's going up quite a way. And we've got the beginnings of something up there. I'll go out here a little way, and I'll hopefully be able to illustrate what I was thinking about. Because as I was going up here, of course I added this extra wall, and then another wall. And because I've got the glass over the farms, as you can just see through that window there, it meant that the cross-section of this capsule now has kind of a cutaway up there. Again, let's go up to get a better vantage point up the ladder next to the stained glass window, and you can see the cutaway here. Now, this, I have no idea what I'm going to be doing with this. It'll probably continue up quite a way. But when I saw this sort of cut out almost rectangle here, I started to think, let's give it a vaulted ceiling. Let's make it really grand. And then this area next to the farms we can have open. This birch here, this is all temporary. This is just like so I don't fall down. Which, in fact, I have fallen down quite a lot. I currently hold the record. I have 13 deaths on the server so far. Some of that is because I like to fight things underwater, but it's also because I did quite a lot of work on this roof area before I bothered to put the floor in place. And it's really not that good an idea. But you can see here the structure of the roof. If you try to imagine without the birch here, we've got these sort of tall, sort of pointed arch structures here, and then we've got lines that go up and meet at these central points. Again, these will kind of be bosses on the ceiling. There's slight subtlety to the back here because this is of course a segment of a circle. It's not actually straight, but you know, I don't mind fiddling around with some geometry and trying to make these things work. I've done some strange geometric shapes in the past in Minecraft, and you can see there that that's quite a drop. I took a bit of care over these walls here, just gave them a bit of texture using stairs. I didn't want everything to be flat wood everywhere. I could have gone for something even more ornate, but ultimately I didn't want to detract too much from the roof. The question is what's going to go into these sections. I'd like something with a vertical pattern, which almost makes me start thinking quartz. But do I really want to go into the nether and start getting that much quartz? Maybe I do. I don't know. There are lots of other possibilities. And as for what I'm going to put into the actual vaulted ceiling, no idea. Maybe coloured wool, maybe terracotta. I haven't got a clue. I'll probably pick something pretty much at random and just run with it. As for other stuff, well, yeah, the farms. We've actually now got grass up here, and in the end I did just build a long bridge down to the grass section there by the ocean where the wild pigs are. You can barely see it from here. Well, trust me, it's there. And there it is. It took a long time for the grass to reach up here, but eventually it did. In that time, I completed my enchanting area. And of course I now have Silk Touch. But the grass grew up here first, so it won that particular competition. Over here, the farm is of course complete and functioning. We've expanded potato production quite a bit. Although currently I am living off beef rather than the vegetables, simply because I had to tone down, well, I didn't have to, but I felt it was a good idea to scale down the animal farms that I had here just a little bit, particularly the chickens. They were getting out of control. I sorted out my storage here, and I ended up with quite a lot of eggs just by standing here. This wasn't going into where the chickens were and pulling out eggs. This was just because the chicken farm was up here. While I was moving things around and picking things up, I'd end up with loads of eggs, and I chucked a lot away, a lot of them as well. And there came a point where Monkey said, "Oh, I was looking at the number of entities on the server, and me and I think one other player had quite the lion's share of them." And so I thought, no, let's prune it down a bit. And the same thing went for the cows. So that's the steak story, and that also gave me enough leather to finish off the enchanting. And we put up some pictures and made some start on some stained glass. I do wish there were more big pictures. We've got so many of this girl with the pig now. We've got the one. We've got the one of the karate man. I don't know. And of course, it was these guys making those pig-like sounds last time. But I noticed one other thing when I was editing the video before. Yeah, I did. It was that when I went through there, in the nether, there was actually the sound of a wandering trader. So I was right, he did go through the portal and did get stuck there. Stupid old wandering trader. And there was another lost army as well, which made their way out there. But I'm better now. I fought them off, got rid of them. And of course, one other minor fix-up you probably noticed is that there are now trees on the top of the hill, which I was demolishing. I basically took it down an extra layer, as I said, and covered the top in earth and planted some trees here, and now it looks much better. And this guy, yeah, he was following me around as I was taking down the hill, and he seems to still live here. So, yeah, I'm glad that I didn't completely deprive him his habitat. Here you can see a sort of thanks to the render distance, a semi sort of view of the structure that we've got going on there. And what this will look like eventually is you'll see, of course, the outer frame of this with the bits filled in. Hopefully it will look quite picturesque. And then we'll be able to continue the semicircle up further. The one restriction is that, according to the current rules of light, I won't ever be able to have anything hang over here, so I won't be able to have turrets come out over here because it will block the farms, unless I later move the farms. But it doesn't preclude me from expanding out that way, or indeed expanding out one of these ways. But I have no plans. I don't know how high up this is going to go. I really don't know. It's fun actually just letting it grow organically. I've started mining on the other side now as well. I did find a new mine shaft down there. I was hoping to make inroads into that big ravine, but there's actually quite a lot of caves down there too, and I was exploring those. It's not giving me any more diamonds yet, but plenty of other resources. And of course, I'm using andesite at an enormous rate at the moment. Now, obviously, we're going to need to continue this up at least one other level, just to keep the pattern going. So I'm going to need more dark wood. So this might be an opportunity to go out and get some. We'll go to the covered forest and get some of that dark oak. Oh, they're all coming for me. They're all coming for me. I think some of them don't appreciate my design skills. They're wrong, of course, as they've just discovered. By the way, last time I mentioned Punt PI, and I got to the end of that. The end of all 10 seasons of that. So that was pretty good going. I've moved on now to something else. But, yeah, Punt PI, surprisingly good. Of course, we're still very lucky in the UK to have these kinds of decent radio shows, radio comedies and panel games and stuff like that. Whereas in some other places, you know, it's radio has become dominated just by pop music all the time. And of course, there's an important place for pop music on radio. It's just a shame if it loses its ability to entertain in other ways. Earlier in the year, of course, we lost Nicholas Parsons, legendary game show host, who also hosted Just a Minute for many, many years. And that's not an exaggeration. I saw Nicholas Parsons in person on a few occasions. I saw him acting in a play, and I also attended the recording of a few episodes of Just a Minute. So he was really one of the old school of TV and radio hosts, and the question will be, will they continue Just a Minute with a new host? It's one of the few shows where the BBC is able to charge for tickets, so the other one being Sorry I Haven't a Clue, which after the death of Humphrey Lyttelton, Jack Dee took over as chairman, and that show is still going strong. It's kind of developed its own feel again after Jack Dee took over. And of course, thanks to the coronavirus, we lost a regular on Sorry I Haven't a Clue, Tim Taylor, which was a very sad loss. So it remains to be seen how that will affect the show. I mean, two of its long-standing stalwarts in the form of Graham Garden and Barry Cryer still very much going, but you know, it feels like there is an era coming to a close. Some of these great comedy minds that are passing on. So as for who would be a good chairman for Just a Minute, I really don't know. They're starting to discuss this in some of the groups that I'm in, and you know, there's thoughts, could it be Giles Brandreth maybe? But is he too old school himself? How about someone like Sue Perkins? Maybe. I don't know. And of course, it might be nice to ring the changes and have a female host after all this time. But equally, nothing lasts forever, and there have been some other good shows of a similar ilk. I mean, there's The Unbelievable Truth, hosted by David Mitchell, which is superb, and that's something I've loved listening to on the train for a long time. Maybe it is time for Just a Minute to come to an end. I don't know. You can't have things just keep going on forever just because they've always been there. Equally, I think there is life in it. It just has to be promoted the right way. As long as there's a new, younger audience that's coming in and listening to this stuff, and there really should be, because it's good, it is funny. It's not like, you know, it would be a shame to lose it all just because people aren't aware of it. In many ways, radio as an entertainment medium has transformed into podcasting. It's something you listen to, and you know, radio shows can work well in a podcast form. And the funny thing is that podcasts, there seems to be a drive for them to get longer, even as videos on the likes of YouTube get shorter. Although I personally still quite like long videos, because while I'm doing this kind of thing, I can have a video running in the background and just keep having the video going without having to think about what I'm going to put on next. That's always so jarring. You come to the end of things, you think, what am I going to put on now? You want something that will provide you with some background sound for a long time. To be honest, that's one reason why I like Mikashi's streams of The Sims, because, you know, whether I'm working or whether I'm doing some Minecraft stuff, I don't have to worry about what's going to come up next. It's a nice little story that's developing. Well, here's a view in the rain. I think it's quite interesting. You can see the framework there. It gives you a better idea of the symmetry of the whole thing. This is the first post going up of this new level going around the semicircle. I've built it up 9 blocks. Basically, it's a line of andesite, then 8 blocks, then another line of andesite. And when I put up the framework blocks, I put them up 9 blocks at a time, just so that I can see roughly how it's going to look. Now, of course, the downside with this approach is that I keep dropping down, needing food, and sometimes falling off the side. Now, when I fall into the water, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that's not too much of a problem. But if I miss, it gets a bit splattery. I'm kind of aware that while I'm thinking about what I need to fill in this with, I need to think about the interface between this vaulted area and what will be a large straight wall going up here. I must admit, I've also been thinking that with that little bit of stained glass there and the stained glass in the middle, once we've got the wall in place, I might knock a circular area out there and try and do some sort of rose window. That would be an interesting challenge in itself. Again, it's a bit of geometry, you know, not a hugely complicated a circle, but 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But it might be fun to try and come up with a design that looks good. And I like the way this is starting to become imposing. It's starting to have a feel. I haven't decided yet whether there'll be windows at this level. Of course, the fact I'm not using panes, and obviously I'm not using panes because this is not a straight window. I kind of have to use full blocks, otherwise there'd be gaps or it would just look weird. That does get through a fair bit of sand, and I have to say that's not the hill I was working. Oh, it's not visible from here. Oh, it is actually. It's around the back of there. That I've used up quite a lot of sand from around there now. It's surprising how much sand you use when you're using blocks and not panes. Of course, a fair bit of it went into that too. So yeah, these are the things I'm thinking about right now. But yeah, there you can see how the capsule is continuing. And who knows where it will go next. That was bound to happen sooner or later. Oh well, number 14. And I'm being attacked by my undead self. Come on, get that sword before he does. Now you. Come on. There. Well, as I say, number 14. When will I ever learn? Please remember to like and subscribe. And yeah, see you next time.